time to get out your pad and pencil, cause it's time for the GOAT of soccer picks. Here he is, your host, Tijuana Raf.
Yo.
What is up? What is up? Special edition.
Yeah, right. We bring in MMA and football together.
Absolutely love it. Looking forward to chopping it up with you. Maybe come into a couple spots on MMA and find some of the best spots. I know that some spots are to the VIP, but man, the leans, we got to talk about this quickly. The leans on the podcast and on the pitch have been absolutely stellar, absolutely crazy. And sometimes people don't realize, they're like, oh, you gave out this pick or that pick. But it's like, sometimes you don't have to look exactly to the pick you're giving out. Just listen to what you're saying. Listen to how you're breaking down. Like you're very obviously almost even giving the pick out sometimes, even if you're like, oh, but I'm not going to tell you what it is at the end. It's like you've given out quite a bit of value. And I think a lot of people, if they've been smart, have been cashing through this World Cup. So thank you from the community. Just wanted to say that.
I mean, yeah, all year long. I don't know how many years we've been doing this, but every podcast that we put together has picks for all the games, all the top European leagues, and we do quality stuff. And, you know, people need to jump on and start watching them more, send it to your friends, because I heard some folks, they've been doing parlays from the podcast alone. They're not even in my VIP and they're making money. So the value is in the VIP because we give out the plays that we're putting the big money on. But if you just watch the podcast and enjoy the show, you're going to be making some cash.
For sure, man, for sure. And now what we're going to do is do what we shouldn't do. We're going to mix one of the most consistent, profitable sports in soccer with one of the most volatile, crazy sports in betting in MMA. Because in a fight where you think that you know minus 1,000 could get knocked out, it could happen. A punch is a punch. Anybody can get knocked out. So we are going to dig into some spots first in soccer. I want to go over the slate. I know we have a big game today, so I figured I'd let you, even if you don't want to, dig in too hard on the game, but just sort of go over Spain and Belgium, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, I mean, Spain, Belgium is going to be a good matchup. Spain is coming from the tougher game after playing against Portugal. They had a tight contest. Portugal didn't really show much. Spain missed a lot of opportunities that easily could have been Spain winning like 3 or 4-0, but they had a lot of tough times in the final end of the field, in the final third, fourth end of the field. In the box, they weren't able to produce any good scoring opportunities. They had a lot of missed kicks. They missed a lot of goals. I mean, they clearly dominated the game. Portugal couldn't do anything against their defense, but I would say that game was the tighter matchup. The tougher matchup going into this next game. Belgium, on the other hand, played a very lackluster United States team. Everybody was disappointed in that USA performance. USA basically did not show up to the game. It was like they were up all night partying or just all had diarrhea. I don't know what was going on for the USA. They had 6 shots in the entire game. They got manhandled by a Belgium team who's good but isn't great, and they lost 4-1. They showed no heart, no determination. So I think that Belgium goes into this game playing a weaker, less competition. That doesn't mean that they're not going to battle out and play hard. Everybody's expecting the game to be low scoring because of the way that Spain plays. I don't know if that is going to be the case because Spain missed a lot of opportunities and Belgium can score at will. They got the guy Lukaku in there that comes in off the bench. We saw him come in and score a goal. They kept scoring goals even though they were up and didn't need the goals. So I honestly think that this matchup is for Spain. On the other hand, I do think Spain is going to move on and advance. So that's something that we need to look at as maybe parlaying with one of the fighters, maybe Spain to advance, because the money line is actually not that juicy. I don't know what you're seeing on the money line for Spain. Maybe minus 170, my 180.
No, well, I mean, if you're gonna do it with in regulation, it's probably around the minus 170 marker, and yeah, I mean that would be something that would be parlayable. I think they do win it in regulation. I mean, Spain. I was actually looking at the under, and I don't know soccer that well. I don't know football that well, but I've been producing your podcast for 2 years, and I'd be pretty stupid if I didn't absorb at least some betting style, understanding of the game, looking at what leagues do what and what players do what. And Spain does play sort of a stingy game, or can play a stingy game. But you're right. I think that's where the bookies could make their money. And I think this might have a couple goals in it. And some people are going to be on the under, and there might be a problem there
Yeah,
supporting
so
there.
I think we might see a surprise. There might be a lot of people on the under, and we may get a high scoring game. That's why we're going to stay away from the under here
I
when we're
like the
thinking about
advance. I think
that
the
game.
advance is a parlay piece. I think that's the way to go. And sorry to cut you off there, but I
No,
think that's
yeah,
the way to
that's
do it.
that's good. I'm glad you brought that up because it seems on paper, I don't know what the line is at, but I think over 2.5 is at -125. So it's not looking like it's a over. When it's typically an under game, we would see a over two or over 2.5 at -115. That's when it's leaning more towards the under. So we do have some goal scorers in that game in the VIP, and we did hit the first one for the game last night, which was an easy one. It was Mbappe to score a goal. He already scored a goal, so we're moving on to this game. And for people that are watching, I do like Lamine Yamal to either score or have an assist today. Lamine Yamal to score or to have an assist. I think you get pretty decent odds on that.
Yeah, no, I like
Lamine
that.
Yamal.
I like that. I mean, if we're going to throw out a parlay piece that's a little bit chalk, the fact that you're throwing out a prop, I'm sure everybody appreciates for a goal scorer. After coming off of sort of a stingy or slow moving game, I could see some explosive offense from Spain. So I like it. Definitely
And
like it.
now we do have these fights are not till tomorrow, right? So we could also parlay some of the games from tomorrow.
Oh yeah, we call that a bridge parlay. We would do that with the Dana White Contender Series, where you would pick your best favorite from Dana White Contender Series and bridge it to the Saturday. So I mean, doing that for today to tomorrow, 100% I'm in. Spain could definitely be a parlay piece, and we'll get into the MMA. But first, we have a game that is going to be highly contested. Everybody's waiting for this one. I'm excited about this one. You've sort of championed guys throughout the podcast, Harry Kane being one. You've always sort of faded Mbappe, which is sort of funny. But if we look at Norway, we have Holland now. I mean, the world's champion. This guy is he's viral. He's everywhere. Talk about Norway, talk about Holland. Everybody sort of knows the way you're leaning. It's not just from your Mexican bias, but talk to me.
Yeah, I mean, since day one, you've heard me say that Norway, because of the fact that they weren't in the World Cup 4 years ago, Holland has never been in a World Cup, and he deserves to be one. He finally is in one. You have Odegaard, you have Sorloth, you have a great defense. I mean, you're talking about a team that's well put together. It doesn't have too many stars. That's just ready to rock and roll. And Holland is a beast. He's a complete striker that can score at will. He's just become a fan favorite, because of the way his personality. He's a funny guy. They showed a video of these ladies that were, I think, in Dallas or one of the hotels that he was at. And there's a little clip, it's a little reel about them saying, hey, somebody over here told us that you're one of the greatest players in the world and that you play for Norway. And he said something like, no, it's not me, it's this guy. And it was like his buddy that was there that's part of the team. And he said, yeah, take a picture of both of us and ask them who they think is the player. And anyways, he had an interaction with those fans. And he's just not greedy. He's not looking for fame. He's not looking to be like the top guy. He just is a genuine person who I would love to have on the team. He's just a great dude. With all that being said, it's going to be a great game. You got Holland going up against Harry Kane, Bellingham, that squad. The thing here, though, is they match each other up in size. Mexico was undersized versus England by a lot. If you watch those videos, you're talking about David versus Goliath. We're talking about guys that are a foot taller than these Mexicans and stronger physically. And I mean, it came down to the wire. I was there at Estadio Azteca watching England. So I am scared of England. They are very powerful. One thing we're going to get here is we're going to get goals, man. We're going to get goals in England versus Norway. England gave up goals to Mexico. Norway has been scoring a lot of goals. The easy, very juicy grandma thing here would be over 1.5 goals. It's probably going to be super juicy, but that's almost a absolute lock if you grandma parlay that with a couple fights as well. So we are going to look at that. I also like the boat to score. And there's some other options in that game.
Well, grandma makes money though, right? So I mean,
Oh,
get
yeah.
cash. So I mean, it's okay. Like I've learned one thing that you've learned have to learn is even on a money line, if it's minus 200, but it's like sometimes it's that's the play. You're gonna get half on the investment, but it's like that's the play, and you got to go with it. So, but I am not no. This is not sports gambling advice. I am not a professional capper. I'm just an MMA guy. He's the goat. All right, man. Yeah, I think with that game, I'm just excited for the game, and I'm Scottish origin, so I just want to see England lose. That's all I care about. And Mexico and Scotland is aligned in that one. We want to see England lose this game. So, looking forward to this one. Let's finish it off with, man, talk a little bit about Messi and the last game and the barn burner that was, in Argentina and Switzerland. And I'll be back in one moment.
All right. And you know what? I did look up the over 1.5 for England versus Norway. It's not as juicy as I thought it was. It's at minus 420. So if you parlay that minus 420 with the minus 250, if we parlay that with one of the fights that you want to give us later, that's actually a great grandma parlay to move on with as we put these plays together. Argentina versus Switzerland. Argentina's gotten the easiest road to the semifinals. They look like they were down and out, down 2-0. I knew they weren't down and out. I knew they were going to bounce back. I was watching the game with my pops. Not a big Argentina fan. He's the type of guy that wants there to be a new champion. Doesn't want the same champion to keep winning. I'm kind of the same way. France has been in there too in the finals over and over again. And we just want somebody new, some new fresh blood. That's why we're rooting for Norway and one of the other teams that hasn't won it in a while, possibly, I hate to say it, maybe in England. Switzerland would be great if Switzerland can get in there and upset Argentina, but I just don't think that that's going to happen this time today. The Argentina is a minus 143 favorite. The over-under here is over 2 minus 145. Seems very low. I do think we can get a couple goals there. So the over 1.5 is in play. Back to Norway versus England. The over 2.5 is minus 134. I'm surprised to see that. I figured we'd see a 3. I figured we'd see a 3 in the Norway versus England. So seeing it at minus 134 for over 2.5, I love that. I love that early. And the over 1.5 to parlay with one of your MMA fights at minus 420. If we could get a minus 200 in there, if you know one that you like at the end of the show, that would be a great parlay piece to parlay with the over 1.5. That might be one of our favorite grandma parlays of the day.
Yeah, I do like that. And I did hear all of it. I just got kicked off for 1 second and it came back in. But yeah, no, I do like that. I think that's there's still value there. Under minus 500 is typically sort of the rule when you're going to get amazingly chalky with parlay pieces. Anything over that's a little bit gets crazy. But there is some spots with the UFC card that we will take a look at. Finally, let's get into Argentina then. Let's get into Argentina, Switzerland. Messi, the dream, the craziness.
Yeah, man, he's been scoring goals. He's been scoring goals at will. He's looking like he's 25 years old again. He's on fire, and it does seem like the FIFA is kind of catering to Argentina again. I know you hear it in the news that they're cheating for them, and it's for a good reason, because if you look at their road to this game, they've played the weakest competition, the weakest group. They've got the weakest. They were put in the bracket with the easiest teams. I mean, come on, Egypt. They're going into Switzerland before that. I forget who they played, but they just had the easiest competition. Some people were saying, "Hey, are they playing in the AFCON, the African World Cup, and not the World Cup?" They're at minus 143. It's hard not to pick Argentina again at minus 143 when you're giving me that line, knowing the road that they've had. It's not hard. It's easy to say, hey, Messi's going to score again. Those are some easy picks for that game. I do like the over 1.5. The line's that set at over 2. So I do like the over 1.5 in that game as well. Should be a good game, but I just think Argentina is going to move on, no doubt. I would love to see them lose and be kicked out, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's not the spot. I think they're definitely that's just sort of an easy no-brainer. I think Argentina to move on in that spot is sort of another even parlay piece. There's a couple good parlay pieces for the evening, but I do like that over 1.5 to definitely hit. I'm just trying to pull something up right now as we take a look at what would be some of the spots that I'm gonna talk about a couple of the spots that I'm actually talking about for the UFC card.
Hey, Cal. Hey, Cal, I know we wanted to do this fast, but I'd like to just get your pick. We don't have to go into detail, but I'd
We
like
don't
to
have to go
just get your.
fast. I'll dig in.
I would like to just get your straight up pick for each UFC fight. We'll do it fast. I'll ask you who you think's going to win. I'll give you their records, and I mean you know them very well. You don't have to give a good reason. The fights that we're going to touch a little bit more are going to be the fights where we have possibly a bigger bet in. But I want you to go, if it's okay with you, just tell me a winner. I want to write it down, possibly make your long shot.
Yeah, no, I'm with it, man. I mean, I haven't done, we haven't been doing podcasts in a while, so I haven't been digging in the books the same way as I used to. I would be into stats like absolutely crazy on every fighter. So if there is a fight that I'm not fully in tune with, I won't lie. I'll tell you straight up, I'm not fully in tune with it, but here's my pick. If I am in tune with it, I'll give you some flavor.
Let's
You want to start from the top? We'll go.
Yeah, let's start with Alessandro Costa, Cody Durden. Cody Durden, 18-10. I met Cody Durden out there in Atlanta. Very cool dude, very laid back, very friendly. He's coming off, I believe, a tough loss, right? He's had a few tough losses recently. Alessandro Cota, I don't know much about him, but I know Cody Durden is a like a street fighter, bar fighter. He battles in there. So I don't know too much about these guys, but I don't know who's favored. I don't think I have the odds in front of me. Who's favored in this fight?
Yeah, I'm actually just trying to pull up Durden right now. But the thing about Cody Durden is he's taken a lot of short notice fights. This one I think is his first one in a while. I don't believe it's short notice. He relies on the wrestling at times, but then he just sort of fades in fights. Like he's one of those guys that sticks in the fight all the way through to the end, but he just starts to get labored. He's behind the punches. I could see him being behind on the cards in this one. I'm trying to find where the value is because I'm trying to talk people off of a Durden line if there's value screaming at you in the face. But with that one, it's just going to be it honestly really is a toss up. I don't know what the line is right now. I can't pull it up. For some reason, it's not there, meaning it may have been pulled. I don't know.
All right, here it is. Alessandro Costa is minus 235.
Yeah, I mean, and that'll be because on the feet he's going to land at will, and he's a lot more crafty on the feet. He has a lot more weapons, that's for sure. And I think that as Durden begins to fade, you're going to see Costa begin to just sort of land at will.
The under look 2.5.
But I can see the over. I sort of like the over on that, but I don't like Durden in that spot.
Okay.
I'll go with Costa.
And then the under is 2.5 is minus 130. So the lines are leaning towards an under 2.5 type of fight.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
But maybe there might be some value in the over 2.5 at even money.
Potentially. I mean, I could see why they think late in the fight where Durden could get caught, maybe beginning of that third round. But I mean, I don't want to spend too much time on the first fight of the night. But I mean, I think Costa's a side, but I wouldn't spend too much money, and I would sort of stay off that one.
All right, the next one is Ryan Gandra versus Zach Reese.
Keep it simple on this one. Gandra's still new into the UFC. Don't have too much information on him. I do remember that he's a little bit of a killer. Zach Reese can be a killer, but he can be killed. He's a great hammer and a horrible nail. I would say that inside the distance might be the play on this one. I would maybe lean Gandra with what I saw in his last fight, but for me, this is another stay off, man. This is another one that's very volatile, and you maybe look at an inside the distance as
so Gandra is minus 135 based. That's you without even knowing the odds, which is based on what you said. Zachary Reese plus 115. The under 1.5 is minus 200. So we're possibly looking at a no distance here, no distance fight.
Like no distance. I hate parlaying no distance and it not sticking, but I mean, I would say. I mean, Gandra's maybe a spot, but it's one where you have to, if you really know what you're looking at, dig in and watch tape on this one. This is not one that you just bet blindly. I would stay off it if I could.
The next one is Farid Basharat, 15-0 versus a John Garza who's 6-1. So are we looking at a no distance here as well?
This should be a no distance. Initially, it was supposed to be Ethan Ewing, who I was going to be all over, who was supposed to fight. Initially, so now we have Basharat coming in as a huge favorite. He should finish it, but then again, he is also a decision guy, so he should finish this fight 100. Like I feel pretty strongly about it. It is a short notice call up. That's usually how it plays out. They come in, they get finished, and then they get a contract for 2 or 3 fights. It's sort of a rinse repeat. Maybe watch it live, but I mean, another one that's still volatile. I like staying off these ones unless I really know definitively. Unless the guy that is already in the UFC is an absolute finisher killer, I stay off these ones.
Minus 650 on that one.
Yeah, it's just there's not value to be found.
Next one, Damian Punas, 9-1. Damian Punas, 9-1 versus Cesar Almeida from Brazil, 7-2.
So I know obviously a little bit about Cesar Almeida, who's been around for a little bit in the UFC, but I don't know about his opponent, so I don't want to speak ignorantly on this one. This one, you're likely leaning that Almeida with his kickboxing will land and land at will and probably get him out of there. But I'll lean. I'm going to go with. I don't want to say I don't have a pick for each one, so we'll go Almeida on that one.
Damian Punas, minus 245.
That's all right.
All right, we're going with the dog. Let's take it.
But then once again, I'm going. I already said to you at the beginning, don't know much about him.
Yeah.
So this is probably a play where I'm coming in ignorant.
Tracy Cortez, Wayne Kong. Tracy Cortez, 12-3. Wayne Kong, 9-1.
I thought about the value on Tracy Cortez because if she got to the wrestling, she could really make something happen with this fight. She has like some strong hooks, some decent boxing, but the problem is Wang Kong's striking is so good, and even though if Cortez does mix up the wrestling a little bit, I can't see her keeping Kong on her back for the whole fight, and I just think the difference is on the feet, not on the ground. So I think on the feet,
Cortez is at plus 102.
Yeah.
So Kong Lang minus 122 is pretty even.
Yeah, it's been sitting around that. It hasn't really moved much. A little bit of money came in on Wang. I mean, I could even see this fight ending inside the distance. I could see her tagging Tracy late and finishing her, but for me, I would just say Kong would be the side for me.
And actually taking no distance is going to be some good plus odds. So
that's
might be
the only way I'd maybe touch it.
Maybe some value. Next fight, Luke Riley, 13-0 versus Kai Kamaka III, 18-7. Seems to be like a journeyman type fighter.
Yeah, this is where I can provide a little bit of help. This is one I was even looking at to try to find value on Kamaka. With Kai Kamaka, he has come a long way. His striking is way better than it used to be. His grappling is way better than it used to be. The journeyman that has sort of moved into Bellator and then out and come back, he's pretty solid. His game's there. And I was trying to find value in him because I think the line might be a little bit disrespectful, but Luke Riley is the real deal. He's got a crazy, well-rounded set, and his striking is just on point. He's damaging, and I think he wins this one, but it's going to be you have to be just a big Luke Riley fan to bet heavy on him on this one because Kai Kamaka still has been around for time, and sometimes these are the fights where more of a vet savvy surprises us. So I might stay off just to watch it.
Luke Riley minus 270.
Yeah,
is the line.
That was what the line. It hasn't really moved too much. He's devastating. He is a phenom coming up and one of the top prospects to watch. But sometimes they have these vets that check them a little bit, and it happens even to the best. So I don't know if this is one of those fights, but this is one I don't feel as strongly about. But I'm looking forward to watching it. But I'll take Luke Riley in this one. This
next fight is the journeyman veterans Cody Garbrandt versus Adrian Yanez. Both have over 25, 30 fights under their belt. What are we looking at here?
Huge fan of Cody Garbrandt, but I think his best years are behind him. What made him so good was his threat of wrestling, but his mix of his footwork and his fast boxing. And now he sort of sits waiting on shots. He's throwing them out, lumbering. He's not as fast as he used to be, and the only time he really gets fast is when he gets into a gunfight that he shouldn't get into because he's been knocked out multiple times. I've talked about his past history with alcohol abuse. It's something he talked about very heavily about. When he got knocked out, there was a correlation between those two things. Dehydration and weight cutting and drinking a lot is not good for your brain. And he was getting knocked out a lot. He doesn't drink anymore. He's fully sober. He leans on the wrestling, but I don't think the wrestling will be enough. I think Adrian Yanez keeps it on the feet. I think the Mexican just goes to work, or Mexican-American goes to work with the hands. And this is a big, big spot for Adrian Yanez. Do not listen to my dog barking outside if you can hear.
Yanez is at minus 425.
It's pretty wide, and I get people wanting to chase the value on the dog, but it's just I don't see it. I think that Yanez probably gets him out of there.
Gable Stevenson 3-0. Alicia Ellison
No
5-2.
value. I'm cutting you off. No value. Stevenson's like a minus 2100 or whatever. It could be 1100. Doesn't matter. Same thing. There's no value anywhere. Do not touch this fight. It's his first
Wow.
fight in.
He's a minus 2,000.
Yeah, he's a wrestler, Olympic wrestler, John Jones prodigy. He's coming in first fight in UFC. He has hands, but this is just a feed me fight.
Hey, I'm seeing the over 0.5 on Bovada at minus 150. Would you take the over 0.5? I mean,
I think
that
that's
means
where we
what?
lose money. I think you stay off it. I really
Okay.
do.
I was just
They
curious.
just don't
because-
like.
so they're expecting this fight to end in the first 1 minute or 2 minutes.
That's what he's been doing. That's what he's been doing to guys, and that guy he's fighting is at that level of guy he's been beating up. So,
And I mean, you could get under 0.5 at plus 115. So you could take that as well. But like you said, stay off of it. Next up, we got Nikita Krylov versus Robert Whitaker.
size
other
matters,
veterans.
no matter what your wife tells you. Size matters.
Yes.
And Whitaker going up late in his career is not going to benefit him, I don't think. I'm a huge Robert Whitaker mark, but his footwork and his striking hasn't been benefiting him at that weight class. And now he's going to move up against Krylov, who has a decent, well-rounded set. He's got hands, and although Whitaker could outclass him, I just don't see it. I think size is going to matter. I think Krylov's going to lean on him and probably submit him. If you want to look at a sneaky prop there, Krylov by submission.
And we got Krylov at plus 110. Whitaker's actually the favorite at minus 130. The over 2.5 is minus 110. Who's next? King Green, Terrence McKinney. King Green, Terrence McKinney. King Green is 35-17. Terrence McKinney, 18-8.
So I'll talk more about this one on my podcast, but I'll give you my take no matter what. I'm leaning King Green on this one. Vet savvy. These are two guys where I get bets out of these guys a lot, or you get things you can predict very easily. A lot of people underestimate King Green or Bobby Green, and he ends up getting plus money dog, and he's been able to drag guys into deep waters, and you can cash on him quite a bit. Next, Terrence McKinney's fights don't end. Like they're under 2 rounds, like they're under 1 round most of the time, but they're under 2 rounds most of the time. And I just think that if you think there's value in Bobby Green, even to say that this fight goes to round 2 is Bobby Green value. But I think Bobby Green could even knock McKinney out in the first round. I've gone back and forth on this fight on every point that I could think of. And I think the best way to do it is just Bobby Green plus money. I think that's the spot for me. I think that's where the value is. Could Terrence starch him with a big straight shot? Yeah. But is the better striker, better footwork, Bobby Green, who rolls with the punches and drags you into deep waters? I'll take the plus money on Bobby Green.
What about Brandon Royval, 17-9 versus Lone Kavanaugh, 10-1?
I cannot take the plus money on Brandon Royval in this one. I love Raw Dog, man. That dude is one of my favorite fighters, but his style's not going to play well here. I think that Kavanaugh is going to get to work on the body. He's going to land some big shots, and if it goes the distance, it's going to look bad for the dog. This is Kavanaugh's spot all day long.
Kavanaugh coming off that win over Brandon Moreno, right?
Yep. That's
I mean, Brandon Moreno's kind of gone downhill. He did have a loss versus Johnson prior to that.
Yeah, but it's just Kavanaugh's hands are just stellar, and he has good wrestling as well too. It's that was a good learning spot. Like he's had some really good spots already, and I just think that this is a big win for him.
And Royval's coming off of 2 losses, so this will be his 3rd loss in a row.
He fights in close fights, and sometimes it does the way that he takes shots or the way that he is in there. It doesn't look good to the judges. So that's
all
the
right.
big thing.
Next up, Corey Sandhagen, 18-6 versus Mario Bautista, 17-3.
These two fought already, but it doesn't mean as much value for this fight because it was years ago and it was an armbar in the first round by Sandhagen. But Sandhagen is just better than Mario everywhere, in my opinion. I go into really depth in this on my podcast, but I list off the people that they've fought. It's just not really the same thing, and we're not there yet. Mario's just coming up to his level, and Sandhagen is one of the best fighters in the world. And I'm biased as hell. I'll give you my bias disclaimer. He's my favorite fighter. But he's so smart. He calculates every point of the fight, understanding his opponents in and out. And I just think, what Batista's brought to the table isn't going to be enough. I think he's going to be behind the ball on every facet of this game. And I think to get Sandhagen at minus 156, unless the line's moved, I'll be honest with you, that's my top spot of the week.
All right, I like it. Next one, we have Benoit St. Denis versus Paddy Pimblett.
So we have Benoit St. Denis against Paddy Pimblett. And for me, St. Denis, the Frenchman, more powerful striker and can take a little bit more of a punch. Pimblett, although he looked great in his last fight, he has the submission pedigree, but so does St. Denis. I think he's a little bit, I don't know if I want to say he's better than him. I think he might be a little bit more aggressive with the wrestling aspect of his grappling. But I just think that everywhere St. Denis is going to be able to land some damage, and I don't think Paddy's going to realize it. The one thing I don't like about Paddy is his chin's always up in the air, and that's just not a good recipe for St. Denis. I like St. Denis in this spot. So does the books. I like him as a parlay piece this week. But St. Denis is a spot for me. As a good Scotsman once said, "Fuck the English."
All right, and the big one, the return of Conor McGregor, Max Holloway.
Yeah, man. I mean, with McGregor, I'm a huge McGregor mark. We share the same last name, same spelling, same origins, all that great stuff. But you can't be old coming back in the fight game. You can't be old and being out for that long. 5 years, that's absolutely crazy. I go through a list of everybody Max Holloway has fought on my podcast since Conor's been out. It's not the same thing. And although Conor has maybe a little more power in his hands, people are questioning if Max, his chin is eventually going to give on him. You've got to bet with what you know. And people are going to be betting like crazy on Conor McGregor's value at the plus money or perceived value. What do you know? Nothing. You don't know anything. He hasn't been around in 5 years. You can't compare him to anything. It's apples, oranges, and it's not the same thing. So, like, the level that Max Holloway's been fighting at is the highest of levels, fighting Volkanovski. He's been fighting the best of the best. And for me, it's if you're actually chasing Conor McGregor, you got to maybe go by KO. If he wins by decision, then it's some greasy shit. And for me, it's just, it's just not a Conor night. And it's not a loss for him, even if he loses, I think. I think if they have a barn burner of a fight, it's a celebration of him coming back, and he has a big speech, and he takes the high road, and that's how he welcomes himself back in. This is a Max Holloway spot, and everybody else who doesn't bet MMA usually will be on the McGregor side, and I'll be waiting for the line to move so I can get better value on Max just before that bell rings.
All right, man, I like that breakdown there, and I agree with you. I do watch some UFC, and I just think it's very hard to come in after not fighting for so many years and taking on a guy like Max Holloway. If it was anybody else, I mean, who had they talked about him returning and fighting? If it would have somebody else, he maybe have a chance. But who were some of the names that he was maybe going to fight when on his return?
Well, he was going to fight Chandler, right? But the one note to see is anybody he's ever fought in the UFC is all retired except one guy, Max Holloway. So any of his rematches, there's only one guy left. So it makes sense. It's nostalgic. That's why, like, if he loses to him, it won't be as bad. If he lost to a guy that was like, I don't know, anybody in the UFC coming in that's newer, it's not as much value. But you lose to Max Holloway, it's nostalgic. We hug, we move on. And then you go and fight 2 or 3 fights, fight out your contract, and move on to bare knuckle.
All right, I like it. Hey, I put together a little parlay. It's a long shot, but $25 gets you $1,000. I wanted your thoughts on it. I'm just going to read you off what I have. Okay, I got Basharat to win straight up. We have Corey Sandhagen to win, Kavanaugh to win, Max Holloway to win, Adrian Yanez to win. Under 0.5 in that crazy fight, Gable Dan Stevenson, Alicia Ellison, which we most likely could hit under 0.5, which is half that round. And then you got Paddy Pimblett and BSD under 2.5 rounds. And then the final pick would be, what was it? Oh, this is the one that bumps it up, is the under 2.5 for Cortez versus Wong.
Man, you'll be sweating all the way through. Those are what would be considered some of them sharp angles. But if they all hit, then that's a nice play. That'll be.
And I took most of the money lines from the ones that you gave me, and we're talking about $18 gets you 1,051. This is a plus 5844, basically a plus 6,000. I'm going to repeat them right now so that people can write them down. Basharat money line, under 0.5 in the Gable Dan Stevenson, Alicia Ellison fight, under 2.5 in the Tracy Cortez Kong Wang fight, which is favored to go over, under 2.5 in the Patty Pimblett fight, and Adrian Yanez just to win, Corey Sandhagen just to win, Kavanaugh to win, and Max Holloway to win. It's just a fun one where I'm going to throw $18 on it to hopefully win $1,000. Why not? It's in.
And then the one parlay I think we could put together really simply before we call it quits, and I might die actually here. I'm trying to charge up.
Yeah. Let's get it. Let's rock and roll. End with the
last
banger.
thing we do is Yanez. Let's do this. I'm going to give you Yanez, and you already picked Spain. So why don't we do Yanez and Spain? What would that be? It's a chalky two-piece, but what is it?
Yanez and Spain. Let me see. Just Spain money line. Where are we at? You like Yanez as your heavy favorite, right?
Yep.
Let me put that in there.
And if I cut out, you can close out the show. Don't worry, it'll cut out and finish. But
yeah, no worries. That works.
I think that's the one that hits. Yanez, Spain.
I mean, Spain on its own is not really that juicy.
That's okay though.
It's minus 168.
But let's do to move on. Spain to move on. So okay. Spain to move on is chalkier.
Yeah, that one would be a lot.
That's okay.
Chalkier.
I don't even care if it's a minus 170 parlay. It just feels it's just gonna hit.
Spain to qualify. There we go. It is juicy. It is grandma. Spain to qualify. Adrian Yanez just to win at minus 170.
Done. I knew it was around minus 170, 175. So I'm into it. I know that seems juicy, but it's two very high probability things. And a lot of people put, plus 130 3-leg parlays. This is minus 170 2-leg that feels very probable. So I like it. I don't want to take up anybody's time any longer. I know for you, Raf, you got to get rolling and get ready for this game today as well, too.
Yeah.
So thank you for jumping on. We are going to be dropping the premiere today for the full breakdown. I know I've broken down a good chunk of the card, but I have Billy Beers of Pub Sports Radio and Luke Kelly of LAK Sports on. We'll be going live premiere at 4:20. It'll be on Donttap Radio, and I'll drop links in and send it out.
Yeah, my guys are all welcome to tap in and check out the show. So we'll be dropping the link to in the free Telegram and the VIP Telegram. All right, thanks again, man. We'll see you next time.
Said don't bet what you can't afford. You gon' get lost. Don't put the cart before the horse. That's gon' cost. You know it's Tijuana Raf.